Thank you for listening to the Failsafe Moment. Grab a cup of coffee and let's join Rob Statham for another informative discussion helping people learn from things that go wrong.
Hello, everybody. My name's Rob Statham. I'll be your host today for Failsafe Moments. I wanted to share with you a little bit about my past and also talk about the process that we use at Failsafe. The acronym we use is ROOTS, and I'll talk just a little bit about that, but what I want to get into is why stakeholder meetings are required. And to do that, I want to first set up a little bit about who I am. There are all sorts of people out there in this industry helping with reliability, cause analysis, human performance, organizational performance that are extremely intelligent, they're well-versed, they're studied, great people. I could sit here and name names. I could probably start Googling and look up names I haven't even discovered yet that are worthy to be listened to. And I've learned a lot from, absolutely. But I'm really not that guy. I'm the guy that I've been in between. I've been in between field and management my whole life. It's almost like I'm destined to understand both. I seem to be the connector. I can link those people together. I can communicate well up or down or sideways, and it's come from my experience. I left college and couldn't find a job. All my fault. I wasn't the star student in college by any means. And as fate would have it, a job found me. I literally had a shovel in my hand doing industrial construction. I tell people I had an intimate relationship with the shovel, and I did, and I actually enjoyed it. It took a while to enjoy it, but I did. I really came to love the work. Well, in the process of working industrial construction, and if you know anything about me, I worked my way up in a company, became an equipment operator. I actually became a partner in the company. We sold the company. That's how I ended up doing root cause analysis. I started doing regulatory compliance and having to do failure investigations, and then I struck out on my own working with Failsafe as a licensed affiliate. So, but let me back up. My work life, we would stop in the morning, or I guess start in the morning with a tailgate safety meeting. And it would be 5 minutes. It might be as long as 10 or 15 sometimes. Usually it was about 5 minutes talking about what we're going to do for the day, what we should look out for. And the concept is excellent. I love the concept of it. And we even had a motto, and we'd always read it, right? That anyone can shut down the job. Our job's never so urgent or important that we can't take the time to do it safely. And honestly, for the guys out there in the field, it was not taken seriously at all. In fact, I'll be completely transparent with you. It was a joke because we'd say that, we'd have a tailgate and we'd talk about that, and then we'd turn right around and schedule dictated everything we did. We would take whatever risks we had to complete our job, to keep things running, and we'd get away with it a lot. And there's few times we wouldn't, and things would blow up or something would happen. We'd have a serious incident, and everybody would just try to run away from it and avoid it. Somebody would get blamed for it, may even get fired. We've witnessed all that, I have. and then we'd be right back at it, and it never really changed us. Well, I instantly recognized what you may have heard of presented as a black line and a blue line when we talk about HOP or human performance, right? That there's the way we intend things to go, and you can think of that on a graph as a black line, right? Maybe a straight line, straight across the graph, horizontal. But then the blue line is what really takes place, and it goes all over the place. It can be under the black line or over the black line, but that's what it takes to actually get the work done. And there's a gap there. And the way I recognize that gap, I lived it, for one. I promise you, I lived it. I know there's a gap there. I always described it if you had gears running something, but there has to be a tolerance between them to where they don't really touch. And that's where people make up the difference, right? If the gap's too long, you have to have people going above and beyond, too wide, above and beyond to take off the gap there. And if it's too tight, it'll just strangle people. They have no flexibility in their job. I think the black line and blue line probably explains it better, the concept, but I can promise you I lived it. And there is a gap there. And in my viewpoint, it's evidence of latency. That's what causes things to go wrong, because we're doing whatever we can to try and get the job done, but we'll shortcut our own procedures. And I see this over and over and over again. And the reason I said all of that so I could talk about this, the reason we require stakeholder meetings, some philosophies, most out there right now, it talks about learning groups. And I love the concept of learning groups. Get those people together, the people that think it's the black line and the people that are on the blue line, get them together and talk and go, no, that doesn't work because of this, or this does. This is how we actually do it, or this is how we should do it. And open those lines of communication. I love that. And you have to have that. Absolutely. I agree with it 100%. This is what's missing. You cannot assume that people, just because you put them in the same room, they're going to be completely honest. In fact, the higher the consequence or the more pressure that's on a situation, the less likely people are going to want to just be transparent and talk about it. If we're talking about why newspapers didn't get delivered on time, sure, maybe you could just get people together, sit around a table, drink a cup of coffee, and figure it out. But if you're talking about why you had a major environmental incident and you have legalities and civil fines and all sorts of things happening, by nature, people tend not to want to talk about that. The concept's good. I love the concept, of course. Yeah, well, let's just talk about it. We want to learn. We'll work this out. But the problem is, the higher the consequence things get, the less likely, the less comfortable people are to share. Well, the reason we require stakeholder meetings is because we have a very healthy process that brings the right people together in the room. It is a learning group. But then we have a process that everyone walks through based on evidence, where they have to look at themselves in the mirror. And they tell themselves the truth. And you can't come in a stakeholder meeting and not do it. And that's the truth. And we ban blame. It's not about finding who did what wrong. It's literally about seeing how we all play a part. And we completely expose the gap between the way we think we do it and the way we actually do it. And there's times it causes people pain. Now, let me give you an example. I've done a recent stakeholder meeting, and the stakeholders come to the conclusion that, we tend to operate outside of our design, and it's causing us problems. Let me tell you something. When you say that in front of people that think that we never operate outside design, fireworks go off inside people's minds. I mean, they may not bounce off the ceiling, but emotionally they are. But we look at evidence. This isn't an argument. This isn't a battle of opinions or personalities. It's based on evidence. And when people see the truth, it changes them. And we don't stop there. We then ask people, okay, that's fantastic. We understand that we have an organizational latency that's causing us problems, but that is made up of the aggregate of everybody, right? We all have personal latencies that contribute to that, and people have to own how they contribute to that. Every time we operate outside design in the field, we're contributing to that. Every time we know it's happening and don't say anything, we contribute to that, right? So that's why things go wrong. It's that gap between the black line and the blue line, and everybody lives with it until something significant happens. And learning groups are a fantastic concept, and there are 3 steps in the right direction, and we need them. But I promise you, there's times you have to have a process in place with your learning group that will lead people in a very healthy way to look at the truth based on evidence, what is, not what they think it is, and then take it all the way, not just corporately, but individually. How do I contribute to that? When people leave from that stakeholder meeting, it changes them. It changes them. They go to work the next day and they're different. They're different people. Now, can you do it once? Can you have one stakeholder meeting and everything's good? Absolutely not. We're human beings. But if we consistently do that, if we consistently start to look at ourselves and see that, it literally changes the way you see things at work. And that's what we call a latent cause mentality. And that's exactly what you have. Now, when I see things, I react to small problems because I know that that's evidence of latency. And eventually it will cause a big problem. That's the value in the stakeholder meeting. It's unique and it's powerful. If you haven't experienced it, I highly recommend you do a latent cause analysis on your next incident. Gather the evidence, go through the process, and you'll be amazed. If you'd like to know more, give us a call. I appreciate your time. Until next week, I hope you have a great March.
Thank you for listening to the Failsafe Moment. We'd love to hear from you. Share your comments and questions below or contact us through our website, www.failsafe-network.com. Once again, that's www.failsafe-network.com. Until next time, have a great day.